Two girls, no farms. Two girls, no farms. Alright. Bam. So sporty we are. Let's take a moment.
Should I lift that up more so it's not cutting our heads off?
Yeah.
Does that look focused to you?
I hope you put your face in the edit like that. Your nose just there. But that's still in the shot. Who cares though, right? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't know.
Has it always been in the shot?
Maybe I just never noticed because this thing's hanging there.
Yeah.
Has this always been in the shot, guys?
Fucking Halloween costumes. Hi everybody, welcome to Two Girls.
No fucks.
And today we are talking about
fitness, but more about how to have a healthy relationship with exercise.
Yeah, we want to talk about our fitness journey and what has led us to this much healthier place with our fitness.
Yes, because I feel like we both really use exercise now as a way to manage our stress, our anxiety, and it's more of it's a positive experience to work out. We both look forward to it most of the time and understand the benefits of it most of the time.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I can say for myself, I've struggled throughout my life to achieve that relationship with exercise. So I wanted to share my story because I feel like it's very relatable and maybe I can help someone out there, maybe change their perspective.
Yeah.
And I think you can too.
I can as well. And I've loved watching your fitness journey, so I'm excited to talk to you about that.
Oh.
It's been a roller coaster for sure.
Yes.
So let's start by thanking our sponsor, Pabst Blue Ribbon, with these amazing strong vodka sodas. These are 6.9%, so
Health.
Balance, and also
Totally balanced.
You drink too many of these and it'll weekend at Bernie's you. So just be careful. Cheers.
Cheers.
They're strong. Yum.
I don't mind it.
No.
I don't mind it.
So let's open up the floor.
Sure.
With where you started with your fitness.
I would say I refer often to the beginning of my serious fitness journey correlating with the time that I started playing roller derby.
Okay, yeah. I was there for that.
To go any further back from that, so I started playing roller derby had interest with roller derby about 26 years old. I've always been athletic and I've always played sports throughout my childhood. I played soccer, baseball, cross country, and in my early 20s I did go jogging, running as my way of kind of working out. I didn't know a lot about weightlifting or the gym. I found it very intimidating to go to the gym, and so I just ran with my sister-in-law, and that's kind of how I tried to stay in shape. But I definitely, in that time of my life, the mindset wasn't, my goals were very different from what they are now, and throughout my journey those goals changed a lot. In the earlier years, when I didn't have a very good understanding about nutrition and I didn't have a good understanding about training and working out and how the body works, I just would go running to try and lose weight. That was my general goal from my teenage years into my all my 20s, was just I always felt like there was 5 to 10 pounds that I had to constantly be trying to lose.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you were in the same boat. Hello.
And that was my main motivation. So it wasn't always something I looked forward to. It was definitely I had a more relationship of a punishment thing, because also in my 20s I was drinking beer, I was eating McDonald's when I was hungover. Definitely a lot of drinking and eating foods that you would correlate with drinking, and also living on my own. I didn't have a lot of money. Yeah. And I think we can all relate to those times when you're eating Mr. Noodles, white rice, 5-minute rice, anything I could get my hands on that was cheap canned soup. So my nutrition was in the gutter. Yeah. And I was trying to manage it by jogging long distances. I would go for hour jog, I would go for 2-hour jogs. And so that was basically kind of where I was at before roller derby came into my life.
Enter roller derby.
Yes.
And me. And I think we are package deal.
We are. So me and Kim met very early into my roller derby career, I was living in Chilliwack still, and then I was trying out for the Vancouver League, and when I started playing roller derby, I started to witness just so many different types of like athletes that were coming into the sport. You had like ex-hockey players and like lacrosse or football or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was seeing how, and I had been out of playing sports for quite some time. Like I hadn't played like group sports since I was in high school, and this is when I'm 26. So I started seeing how people that had been training or working out or playing sports up to that point, they were picking up the sport a lot faster. They were picking up roller derby a lot faster. They were a lot stronger on their skates. They had a lot better balance, and I wanted to get to that level as fast as I could. So I started researching kind of how to train for a sport. That was my motivation. So my motivation shifted from trying to lose weight all the time to like, how can I be a better roller derby player?
Yeah.
So that's why I think that's where I want to start my fitness journey, because that's where I started thinking more like an athlete.
Yeah.
And less, motivated by outside influences and pressures.
And when you did your initial research, what kinds of things stand out in your mind that came up?
I looked up a lot of how hockey players train, football players, because roller derby's kind of always reminded me of football and roller skates. That's how I would describe it to people.
Yeah.
So physical, and you're doing short bursts of energy, like 2-minute jams, and then you have to get off the track, recover as quickly as you can, especially because we both were jammers, and get back out there. So I wanted to do training that was like that. So the high intensity interval training kept popping up when I was looking up like the types of training that I should be doing. And that's kind of what I started to get really excited about in terms of working out. I was doing workouts that were shorter, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes long, but they were more intense. And that's also when I started to dabble more in CrossFit, because CrossFit workouts were inspired a lot by that. Like most of the CrossFit workouts during that time, they would be like 8 minutes long to maybe the maximum was about 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
And also this was shaping how I was thinking about training, because I still was working a full-time job. I was playing roller derby most evenings, practicing, and then being away to play games on weekends. So my only time to really work out and train and exercise was my lunch break. So I started looking up the workouts that people were doing in CrossFit, and I would write them down on a sticky note, and I'd take them with me to whatever gym equipment that we had available in that office. And throughout the next few years, whatever job I got, I ended up luckily having a gym in the building or nearby.
Yeah.
So for quite a few years during that time, I would work out on my lunch break. About maximum 30 minutes my workout would be. So I would have time before I got there and afterwards to like change and stuff and go back to work.
Yeah.
So I want to say during that time that it was like 100% motivated by roller derby, and it was like a super awesome like light bulb went off and I was just training like an athlete. But I definitely will admit that even during that time I was still heavily influenced by wanting to have like this very athletic physique. So it wasn't all about performance. Performance was a big part of it, and it was starting to help me have a better relationship with working out. But as I was getting more in shape and getting leaner, and I was working out around the clock because of so many practices we were doing at tournaments and things like that, I did start losing more weight, and I started getting more acknowledgement for how I physically looked.
Yeah.
So that does not get in your head.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you that. Like, can you remember moments? Because I can remember moments for me where people would come and talk to me about my physical appearance.
Yeah, oh yeah, because you had...
Well, and then you can't help but like...
abs.
Well, yeah, but you also can't help but like take that on, you know?
And then it becomes a pressure to maintain it.
Yeah.
Because...
Which is not sustainable. For all of you who have abs out there, it's great. Just know that you're not going to have them forever. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, our bodies are going to change forever.
Yeah.
That's the biggest life lesson, too, is just don't get attached to your physical form because it's temporary. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing.
No,
it's still not. Something that we learn in different parts in our life for different reasons, but it's just...
Definitely the sustainability factor plays a huge part in my journey to where I am now.
Yeah.
So as I got into really heavily into training, and I would arguably say now I was overtraining at that point. My whole focus became working out, training, and then skating.
I actually remember a moment where we were at a tournament. I think it was on Team Canada. I'm not even sure if it was Team Canada or a travel. And we were at a hotel.
That was with the All-Stars.
And you and I were training.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody from Seattle, remember? What was her name? Tall, very thin, very fast. Doesn't matter. She, like, you know, because there was a lot of camaraderie. Even sometimes, like, you're not on the same team. There was a lot of love. And Evada and I were training, like, fucking training. Like, night before a game, we should have been resting. We were training. And she walked in there. Oh,
that was Team Canada, yeah.
Remember? She walked into the gym and she was, like, genuinely, like, from her heart, concerned.
Yeah.
It was like...
She's like, kind of like, why are you guys in here?
Yeah.
Because we just landed.
Yeah.
It was in Texas.
And we were working out at the airport, remember? I had brought... I don't know if it's the same time.
We worked out at the airport!
I had brought these resistance bands that we fandangled around one of the... Like,
seats
in the seating.
Airport.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's...
We were overtraining.
We got very hyper-focused on the results. We did have good results on the track, both of us. We are... From the year that we met in 2011 to, say, 2014, 2015, both of our skill levels and performance levels on the track went, like, we're in a whole different place.
Yeah, of course.
We caught on really quickly, and I do 100% believe it was a lot to do with the cross-training that we were doing off the track.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for me, I'll only speak for myself, because of the... outward attention that I was getting about how I physically looked and how my games were going and things like that. My personality just took that on as added pressure, and I just became very obsessive with missing. If I missed a workout, missed a practice, I remember I would be injured and I wasn't able to skate at our practices, but I would still go to the practices and go run outside for the entire practice or most of it, and then come in and watch, like, the end, and, like, I would be really upset if I missed a workout.
Yeah, so there was not a healthy...
There was no balance anymore.
Yeah.
The scales were very much tipped, which very much so, I'm sure, resulted in what came to be my burnout and what my retirement, like, came to be. Yes, I had a concussion. I had multiple concussions, and definitely I believe I made the right decision and stopped skating. However... I was absolutely burnt out by that time. Like, I was very emotionally, like, in tears a lot from games and practices and injuries. So the frustration levels were high. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Because I was not taking care of myself. I was not eating
We were
enough.
Eating eggs and chicken.
Eggs, chicken, oatmeal. And also I was...
Roller derby on a budget.
We were also very broke.
Yeah.
So I remember my grocery shopping weekly budget was, like, less than $30.
Yeah.
So I would buy a carton of eggs,
cans of
tuna, apples, bananas, like that was what I would take to work with me, rice cakes, like, just to get me through. So yeah, I had a 6-pack, but I also was not very healthy.
Yeah.
And I knew it at the time, because people would ask me, like, what my secret was, and I said, oh, I work out 7 days a week, and I'm devoid of all nutrition.
Yeah. And so that's what today is all about, too, is really just talking about the journey so that we can take a look at the different headspace that we get in. And, you know, everybody's got their own journey, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to go through these things. But if anything we can say today can help you recognize that within yourself, then we're winning. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, I'll talk a little bit about my journey.
Yeah.
Same thing, you know, like, I had played basketball in college, whatever, and then kind of stopped playing sports. And when I found roller derby, it was all I could do. You could tell me there was I'm not an early riser. You could tell me there was a 5 a.m. game somewhere that I could play, and I was, like, up at 3 to make sure I was there. And, you know, I had put on a lot of weight when I moved to Vancouver because of my thyroid issue.
Yeah.
But got into roller derby, and, like, same thing, just started training, and then, you know, I got the Insanity videos. I was doing Insanity all the time. Like, you
were a huge influence to me at the beginning when I met you, because Kim was already in that headspace. You were already cross-training at home.
Yeah.
on a budget, doing your insanity workouts,
Yeah.
already having major physical transformations.
Yeah. And it was great in terms of the sport. What I do recognize now, though, I was obsessing, and it wasn't healthy for me. It was something that if I could have found the balance between, just wanting to be strong. And it was also like times have changed, not that much, but we have to acknowledge that in 2021, you don't talk about people's bodies anymore.
Yeah.
Like not too long ago when we were playing roller derby, like people talked about your body all the time and told you like how much better you looked, how much fitter you looked. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then you can't help but like, okay, well, this is the version of myself that I've created that I need to uphold now. And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting.
So exhausting. And I think to interject, like, we're both anxious people. I think there's so many anxious people in the world, and I used to be misdiagnosed as like a type A personality, but it's really just anxiety, and that sort of hyper focus and obsession gives you a false sense of control over your life.
Yeah.
And for me, when I started roller derby, I was coming out of a lot of really intense personal situations.
Yeah.
And felt completely out of control. So definitely I just tunnel visioned into this lifestyle.
Yeah.
Where I felt like I was completely in control and getting the positive feedback that I was yearning for at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, and then after that, if you want to talk about it, you went into fitness competitions.
Oh yeah, no, I want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
So you got into derby, you got hyper focused.
I got hyper focused. I was fit as fuck, which is great. That being said, it's something that I look back on. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate because I look back on my roller derby career and I was never happy. I loved doing it, and when I think back about it, I loved jumping in the air and doing my toe stop stuff. I hated going on tournaments. I hated competing. I'm not competitive at all. Like, I could give a fuck if we won or lost. I just wanted to meet new people and make new friends, and it just became this thing. Especially as jammers, you needed to try out. First of all, you needed to try out every 3 months to stay on the team, and then you needed to secure your place for every game as a top 4 jammer. And it was like, it's great. It taught me a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
But my most important point today is about how I've transitioned from that into where I am now with my workouts. And,
So what was driving you then, do you think, during the derby times, working out like you were?
It's funny because I think I was substituting, feeding myself what I needed to be happy. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing the work, instead of doing, I talk about it now, instead of working in, I was working out, which is great. I've done a lot of working in, but when I was playing roller derby, I was still really angry about a lot of things in my life, and I was a very different person than I am now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just was so hyper focused on working out that I really wasn't working in. And that's just my natural, that's what happened for me. Mm-hmm. But it was that's all I was doing. It was like, you know what? I just gotta be fit. I gotta be fit. I gotta be fit. And, the sport definitely drove me, but it wasn't winning at the sport. It was just you also, as a jammer, you can't help but be showcased. It's not
you get your photo taken. That's just that's just one of the elements. I mean, we were getting sponsorships and things like that. You're representing brands, and there's photographers at every single game taking photos of you at every single angle. And I remember even looking at photos of me at the beginning of my derby career and comparing them to when I was 3 or 4 or 5 years in, and being like, whoa, look how crazy, gross I was before.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't gross before.
No.
At all. I've always been fine.
Yeah.
But I started feeling like this extreme version was, the better version.
Yeah.
And then it's I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to go back to that version of myself,
Yeah.
And so I have so many photos of myself. And at that time, you couldn't help but after you played a game, wait for the photos to come up and see, because there's going to be some unflattering ones, and that sucked, but you were I tried my hardest to feel as good about myself as I could in these photos, which meant that I was starving myself, I was overtraining, I was trying to achieve a body that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And that became more important to me than my own health.
Yep.
And enjoyment of life. So we kind of got to that place together. That's where our paths crossed.
We got to that place together, and I have to say real quick that part of my driving factor, and I noticed this, I broke my ankle in what was it, 2013? 2000, doesn't matter. I broke my ankle. What I realized during that time is when I broke my ankle, I disappeared. Like, like when you're playing roller derby, after every game, you can expect on your Facebook page, or back then it was Facebook, for accolades to come rolling in. Like, I loved your game tonight. You were so good. You're so inspiring. And I hate to say it, but I love to say it. I was feeding off of that. Like, I needed that in order to be worthy. And as soon as I broke my ankle and those things stopped coming in, I realized that I was dependent on that. And then I reflected to when I was playing, and that's what was driving me. It was like, it's almost as though I loved playing because I had these amazing teammates and I had these, like, I was meeting amazing people, but I remember packing my bags to go to tournaments and I was so stressed. I had so much anxiety. I didn't want to go. I just wanted to be, I wish I could just be watching the game, and then I'd be stressed out. The game would end. I would never feel like I did well enough.
Yeah.
And then I would sit and wait for the accolades to roll in. So that's what was feeding me. That's what was driving me. Yeah, external validation. That's what was
validation. So
not working in.
There we were, two people, best friends. I was in an unhealthy mental space, so that external validation for me was driving me to continue to do what I was doing.
Yeah.
So now, as most of you may know, we retired in 2016.
Yeah.
So due to injuries and just burnout and just making the right decisions for ourselves, we both retired in the same year.
You don't want to overstay your welcome.
Yeah. So out we went from that, and we have made videos about this too, which we can link above, about retiring and the effect that had on both of us mentally, because again, like you're saying, when you broke your ankle, that external validation was gone for a temporary point of time. When you retire, it's gone for good.
You're going to want to watch the retirement video because this one's going to make you cry. Cry fest.
So I'll hop over back to my next part of my journey, which was, so after being done with roller derby and not having that external validation, I felt very lost. I also, because I had been, my motivation for training and working out and exercise was my performance and my physical appearance and the external validation from others. Like, I didn't know, I felt like a little depressed and worried that I didn't have the motivation for it anymore. And I was very fearful of like falling back into a different physique than I had maintained thus far.
Yeah.
So my next logical...
So she kicked it up a notch.
decision was like, I am going to do a bodybuilding competition. And I came up with that idea, honestly, because when I was looking on YouTube for training videos and inspiration stuff and motivation stuff to keep me working out, I really resonated with the fucked up mentality and disordered eating of bodybuilding in the bodybuilding culture. And I will say this because it's not healthy. Anybody who does bodybuilding, sure, you can maybe do it once or twice, and that's okay because you can just say it's about discipline and that like 3-month experience or 1 year experience. But the reality is, anytime you're doing a show, you are absolutely starving yourself.
Yeah.
I got amenorrhea. How do you say that? Amenorrhea.
Is that when your period stops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happened. It's really unhealthy. I was eating less than 900 calories a day, but working out 7 days a week, including weight training and cardio, which is just not good. But at the time, I was like, this is fine because everyone thinks it's fine. I have a coach telling me that it's fine. I'm in this whole culture of people that all don't see a problem with doing this, but it's not fine. And so I did fall into that lifestyle as kind of a cushion to continue the way that I was managing my food, my diet, my training, overtraining, undereating. But I will say that was really the catalyst to change the trajectory of my relationship with fitness, because at the end of all of that 3 months of training for this show that I did, which I can link that video as well. I have a whole series on that I documented week by week. At the end of the show, I thought I would feel absolutely amazing standing on stage in my bikini, absolutely shredded, more shredded than I've ever been in my life, the thinnest I'd ever been. And I was miserable. And I wasn't happy with how I looked. And I still thought I needed to lose more weight, add more muscle. There was no end point. And that's what really, when it hit me,
Yeah.
That this elusive thing that I'm trying to obtain, which is a perfect body, and then when I get to that perfect weight, I'm going to be super happy.
Yeah.
That day will never come.
It's almost like that was your rock bottom.
It was 100% my rock bottom because
Yeah.
there's nothing more I could have done. There's no more weight I could have lost, and I was still not happy.
Yeah.
And it was a shocking experience because I thought, oh, I should be able to walk on the beach in a bikini and feel amazing at this weight, and I didn't.
I also want to give Evada a shout out though, because I don't know if you remember this, but when you started all of the fitness stuff, you and I had a sit down discussion.
Yes.
Because you had come to me and said, I don't know, this is something I really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I know, et cetera, et cetera. And we had a discussion about, you know what, all you can do is do it and you'll know after.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a part of you that knew at the end that you would have some answers. And it was hard to
Yep.
watch, honestly. Like, it wasn't hard to watch for me. Like, obviously I was there the whole time. We both knew that it wasn't healthy.
Right.
That
Yeah.
being said, sometimes you have to create space. I don't know if you hadn't done all of that, if you'd be where you're at now. And
I don't think so.
Sometimes you
Yeah.
do need to hit rock bottom in order to really understand that, like, if I can't feel good in this shape and form right now, then something needs to change.
Yeah. I remember that conversation with you, and I had definitely had people in my life concerned that it was going to be even more detrimental to my self-image, my eating habits, my training, and everything. And it was. But I do appreciate that everyone kind of allowed me to make my own choices and go through that experience. And at the end of the day, I'm so glad that I did it because it really did absolutely shift everything that I felt.
It
about
shook
working
you.
out. 100%.
She was literally shaking.
And what happened during that time was that I just didn't want to perpetuate any more of that idea of chasing this bikini body, this perfect body anymore. I made another series about this too, but it did take a lot of time to undo all of that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an immediate, after my show day, I was like, oh, fuck this. I'm totally changing my mind about everything. Like, I had about a year to 2 years of, like, having to figure out how to eat again. I had to learn about being okay with gaining weight. The weight that I was for my show was completely unsustainable.
Yeah.
The physiques that we had for roller derby were already unsustainable, and then subtract another, like, 10 pounds off of my body, which I'm very short, so that's a lot. So it wasn't maintainable, but in my mind, I thought that if I wasn't able to maintain it, like, I was a failure. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
So it took me a couple of years, and during that time, I decided to take my personal training certification.
Yes.
And honestly, that taught me so much more about nutrition and how your body works and physiology and how to gain muscle and how food and training should be a combined effort. And I had people messaging me, asking me, like, oh, will you train me for my bodybuilding show, or I want to lose this amount of weight. And I realized, like, that's not what we're going to do anymore.
Yeah, that's not what you wanted to do.
No.
I have a question. Can you remember, like, during those 2 years where you had to unlearn everything and you're taking your personal training, can you remember a moment, a food moment or a health moment where something clicked inside your head? Like, you're eating something or you had deprived yourself of something?
I will say this, that my relationship with food did not significantly change from that state of mind of restriction and dieting and good foods and bad foods and punishing myself if I ate this or that. That never changed until I met Jeremy.
Shout out Jeremy.
My partner. And because I was with someone else during my bodybuilding competition, and I had brought into that relationship all of my unhealthy habits and kind of, like, made it okay for me to have them. Like, I didn't want anybody trying to tell me that. So I would eat my dinners and my meals alone. Like, we didn't cook together, anything like that. And then when I got divorced and I was on my own, I was even more able to really manage and control what I was eating. And I was still very restrictive and stuff like that. And I was still going to the gym, not as intensely, but still not in a healthy state.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, Pandy.
Meeting someone new, and it was like having a mirror in front of me because I was now sharing my every moment with someone else because it was the pandemic and meals and all of that with a person that had a very normal relationship with food and had no time for any kind of like reasoning of like, oh, I can't eat that, or I don't eat those things, or like we can't have pizza because I'd want to have a salad. He's just not into that.
So what's one thing, I'm always so curious, what is one thing, if you can remember, that stands out that Jeremy said to you at some point that made you go, oh?
His constant reiteration that I'm totally fine and healthy and look good. And I think what was a real wake-up call was when we were in the pandemic together and just started dating, and he had never met me during all my other times when I was like super ripped and all that stuff. And I always kind of held on to those images and ideas of myself as like, now I've let myself go versus then.
Yeah.
And so I remember showing him my YouTube channel and some of my bodybuilding episodes on my YouTube channel. And he was kind of like, because I look crazy. Like, I'm like very thin, my cheekbones are showing, like I don't look healthy, and I'm also exhausted, and like it's not, and I looked
hungry.
I looked back on those being like, man, I was so disciplined and like so much like stronger when but it just was like a really big mirror reflection, seeing him experience and watch it and be like, ooh, that's not, you don't look so good in these like videos, kind of, and being very shocked at how I looked.
That must have been a moment.
Not like he wasn't impressed. He was like
concerned.
And all of a sudden, it just like this whole like fog lifted, and I was able to look at these videos and photos and stuff and be like, oh yeah, I look like not healthy. Like I don't look well. Like I look malnourished.
Yeah.
I look tired. And
yeah.
I was exhausted and mentally like not.
Yeah.
And my hormones were crazy, and like. It was just a very
not eating time. Will do crazy shit to your body also.
Absolutely.
On top of everything else. So now we're completely reformed.
Completely reformed.
I would say.
Absolutely.
I mean that you're never. Everybody's got body stuff always, but
yeah, I think my mindset, my goals, and my priorities have changed. The kind of disordered way of looking at myself, my body, and food is always like going to be there because it's something that's been with me a very long time. Mm-hmm. But I'm self-aware at this point that I hear it and then I'm like, I'm not like hanging on to this.
That's mindfulness right there.
Yes.
I hear it and I address it.
And I let it float on by.
It's like a cloud in the sky.
So as I was going through that bodybuilding kind of stuff, and then graduating to when I met Jeremy and like the pandemic, you were also shifting, I saw a lot, because you started working out at home and posting more and more and sharing on social media the reasons behind the working out, because again, you retired from Derby as well, and then it's like, then what?
I think too, like for me, I never used to talk about it's funny, this is the thing, I suffer from depression, and I never realized, my father passed away in 2012, I think, and at his funeral, like the requests, that like the donations were all going to the Foundation for Depression or something. And that is the moment I realized that my father suffered from depression. And then I thought back to when I was young and my mom left. My dad was in bed all the time. I remember I lived alone with him, and I'd go to school, I'd come back, he was in bed. He was depressed. You know, a lot of my siblings suffer from depression. It's not something I ever talked about. Yeah. And it's not something I ever equated to, like, you know, possibly some of my reasons for working out so much when I was playing roller derby, it obviously helped with my depression. I never associated with that. But it's like you're so focused on training for a sport that's what you make it mean. And then when we retired, it was like, I don't really have a reason to work out anymore. Yeah. And so I kind of, you know, you kind of go through a moment, like for me, I started the shop and like working out kind of took a back seat. I've always worked out, but it's when I realized, and I started being vocal on my Instagram channel about my depression, that I realized, wait a minute, like, you know, and people were like, you're so, you know, and then I was working out all the time in a different way, and we'll talk about that. But people are telling me, you're so motivated. And it's like, no, I get so depressed that I don't have a choice. For me, it's a tool. And I know for a fact, every time I work out, I'll feel better. Yeah. Will I be depressed again the next day and have anxiety? Absolutely. But it's something that I'm willing to go through every day. And I, you know, when I see it happening, I work out and then I'm fine again. It's kind of like a pill for me. It's kind of taking my meds. Yeah. And so I started being like, I should talk about this. Because as simple as it sounds, like, yeah, of course you work out, dopamine, endorphins, etc. It's great. But there's so many channels, and you've noticed the same thing where people just talk about like, this was my body before and this is my body now. And there's nothing, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But it's like, this was my mood before. I was literally suicidal. This is my mood now. Or this was my mood before I believed that I haven't accomplished shit in my life.
Yeah.
That I'm not good at anything. And 20 minutes later, I'm on top of the fucking world. And for me, it was so important to start talking about that. Mm-hmm. And that's my main motivation every day for working out.
And you do like a 30-minute workout just at home?
I do a 20 to 30-minute workout every day. I've shifted from I do HIIT workouts. I've bought a trampoline just because it's easier on the body.
Yep.
I have a stationary bike, and I love those things. Today my workout was skipping. I'm not very good at it, but god damn it, it's hard. Because I actually don't look forward to working out. I can't say that I am like, fuck yeah, I get to work out. I don't think that way. I just get so much anxiety that I'm like, okay, I need to go do this so I can carry on with my day. It's actually just like, okay. It's like you run out of gas, you got to go put gas in your car before you can continue doing your things.
Yeah.
For me, like my anxiety is through the roof, and it's like the only way to not feel shitty right now is to go do a workout. And so I do that, and then I can move on with my day. It always happens in like midday usually. Mm-hmm. And I'll notice it. If I don't work out throughout the day, I'm insufferable. Like, yeah. I'm not fun to be around. Like, I manage it because mindfulness, but I'm not, my best self.
I absolutely agree with you in terms of feeling much better mentally. I've learned that as well over this journey, that's the one constant is I always feel better after working out.
Yeah.
And understanding and appreciating that even like a 20-minute home workout is so beneficial and worth it.
Yeah.
There's no bad workout.
No, and if you're working out for your mental health, a 10-minute workout will do the trick. Preferably 15 to 20, but even a 10-minute workout, I always tell people, even if you just do jumping jacks for 10 minutes,
yeah,
or jog on the spot, it's going to change your moment. And it takes a long time to build a new habit. There was somebody that reached out to me last year and said, I've been watching your channel for over 2 years. I suffer from depression. This person said, I suffer from depression and anxiety. I've been watching your channel for 2 years. I see you working out every day. I know it helps with your mental health. Today, I did a workout. After 2 years, thank you for being consistent. But it was like, that's how long it took. So this person was suffering for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's mind-boggling to me, but also I can relate 1,000%. Mm-hmm. It's just the impact that a workout will have on your like mental health and your headspace is just incredible to me.
So where would you say you are now as a reformed person when it comes to your relationship with exercise?
I would say this is probably the best relationship I've had with exercise. I don't ever know that I'll get to a place where I'm looking forward to working out, but that's okay. Because I think once you let that go, then you're fine. If you're, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like, I feel like I'm at a healthy place where I figure out throughout the day where I need to do the workout. I go do it.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I know I'm going to do it again the next day. And I'm also at a better place where I'm not calculating everything. Before it was like, no, like I need to, like, it's
burn
like
this many calories.
Like a hike. I can't do a hike. Like a hike doesn't fall into the insanity workouts I've been doing. It's like, how can I calculate what the hike was compared to the insanity workouts? That's how my brain would work.
Same.
Right? And I was like, people were like, why don't you do this instead of this? It's like, no, I got to stay on my routine because I can't track. And so now it's much better. I have a workout board and I'll be like, today I went for a fucking like seawall skate. That's my workout. Whereas before I definitely would not have counted that. I was like, that was fun.
That was recreational.
And
activity.
so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Where are you on your, what's your relationship? I would say the
same.
Now?
What you're saying about it being fun so it doesn't count. I had a relationship with exercise that it had to be so intense I was almost throwing up for it to be considered a workout.
Yeah.
And anything else was just like leisurely activities.
Yeah.
Whereas now I want to enjoy my workout, and that's kind of what I want to put out into the universe. It shouldn't suck to work out. It shouldn't be your punishment. It's actually something that you're doing for yourself, and it should be a part of your day you look forward to. And for sure, like you said, not always do you look forward to it before you do it, but afterwards you appreciate that you took the time. So I would say I'm just so much more flexible about what I do, and I would say I am much more appreciative of any form of exercise. If I even take my dog for a 10-minute walk around the block,
Yeah.
I feel good about it.
That's a great
I don't
place
feel
to
like,
be.
oh, that's just me walking my dog. I'm like, no, I'm getting outside, I'm walking, I'm getting fresh air, I'm moving my body. I think just my focus now is just movement
Yeah.
rather than back breaking, like muscle collapsing,
Yeah.
like in a pool of sweat being the only sufficient way to train.
Yeah.
It's just if I'm moving my body, I'm connected to my
Yes.
body, you know, appreciating my body. Like, that's what I want to be doing now, and that's what I want other people to be doing. Just like appreciate and love yourself.
Yeah.
So exhausting to hate yourself.
It's exhausting to hate yourself. And nobody will hate you more than you hate yourself.
That nobody else actually even cares. That's the thing.
Yeah.
All this time, that my whole personal journey of like needing to be perfect and needing to lose weight or needing to have this physique, like, I'm sure not a single other person cared.
Yeah.
And even if they did, who cares what they think? But it was just in my brain that, you know, and it's so tiring.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I'm not there anymore.
Me too. High five.
We did it together.
We did it together. I think so.
I feel like we did. We went on the same journey.
We run a
very parallel.
Yeah. And so we are going to make a follow-up video to this.
Yes.
Where we will give you some tips to getting those workouts done.
Yeah, how to build a sustainable, long-term kind of routine. Like how to make it just a part of your life. Yeah, if you just feel like you don't know how to get started or how to stay on track.
Yeah.
We have some ideas for you.
We do.
That might help.
Thank you for watching. We love you.
Thanks so much, guys. Okay, bye.
That was good. That's what I say every time. That was good.